First of all, Brandon, I appreciate you sitting down with me. This is something that, I know it's hard to do for a lot of people, talk about their life and the club life and all that. But let's talk about you. You know what I mean? Because this is what this is about. Let's talk about the beginning because everybody wants to, fast forward to the end. He's a bandito, he's this, he's that. Tell me about the young you as a kid, where you grew up, what it was like, because a lot of people don't understand what drives people into the 1% lifestyle. So tell me about you being a kid and your nationality and stuff like that.
Well, my mom's from Jalisco, Mexico. She was an immigrant. My dad's from Louisiana. They met in Houston. They had me. I grew up in Baytown, Texas. Wasn't a stable childhood at all, but I know my parents struggled, and I'm not going to down them. They were young parents. I know how hard it is to be a parent now. At times, I was real critical about it, whether it was discipline, stuff like that. But now I could completely understand their stresses and stuff like that. They were learning as they go. Unfortunately, a child had to endure that. And it wasn't easy, but I love them very much and I don't want to dishonor them.
So what kind of town is that, like, where you grew up? Is it mostly like Mexicans out there? Is it mixed? Like, what kind of neighborhood? Was it the hood? What was it like?
It's mixed. Texas is just like a place where all ethnicities, but at the time, it's a lot of Mexican, it was a lot of fights, a lot of, stuff like that. Now that I know what real deal is, a lot of low level stuff that you don't consider gangs and you don't consider this or that. To me, it's just stupidity. It's a bunch of kids being kids, stupid, growing up, all struggling, all needing help. I can't really make an excuse for where I came from, how it was so hard and stuff like that, because I was a little fat kid, dude.
Yeah.
I ate. My family ate. We lived in a little single wide trailer off of 6th Dent right across the street from a Diamond Shamrock. I went to school, and that's when I started fighting in school. I wanted to be a gang member so bad, bro. Like, everybody was a gang member, man. And I wanted to be from elementary school. That's what we wanted to be. You remember them stickers with the Jokers on them and stuff? Joker's Wild. Everybody wanted to be that cholo, that this, that, and I was always stuck in the middle because I'm not fluent in Spanish, and I'm a mix. I was the Heinz 57. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm like that. I was born in Puerto Rico, but my Spanish is hit. Like,
non-existent.
so you said like the Chicano style. Is that influence like from Mexico coming in like in Texas? Because I don't know much about Texas. That area where you're at, is it like right by the border? So there's a lot of influence of the.
No, we're East Houston. Baytown's like plants and stuff like that. I mean, it's just a culture of stupidity. Like, it was just you seen stuff on TV you wanted to be like. I don't know how to explain it.
I grew up like that too. We looked up to the drug dealers, and they riding around in like expeditions and navigators, and we thought that was cool. In the Bronx, we didn't have Lambos and stuff like that. If you was the man, you had like an Escalade
Oh,
or something like
bourbon,
that.
bro. The
Yeah,
big
yeah,
body bourbon that
yeah.
we had to give back because it was too expensive a month. I remember Baby Blue Suburban.
But y'all know cars out there, right? The car culture is crazy out there, right?
It's almost to the point where it's pointless to have one because everyone's got one. You know how things are all nostalgic and, oh man, I see. I'm a one-off kind of guy. That's the way I look like I look. I wanted to be different. I wanted to be separate but viewed. It's hard to explain, but not to jump off topic. I grew up in a situation to where it forced me to be hard. I have really tough family members. My dad was a very tough guy. He was a militant guy in his discipline. He was a Christian man. He taught me the Bible. He took the spare the rod, spoil the child seriously, and I got that business, and it was business. And I appreciate him now. I didn't then. I hated him. I hated him then. But what's funny is, and it translates into my life as an adult. The man I loved the most in the world hurt me the most, and I always gravitated to situations that would do the same. In marriages and people that I called brother. I always wanted to love somebody, and I always wanted to be loved by somebody. And that was my dad. And when I realized later on in life, like, man, daddy's not here no more.
What happened to him?
Well, the dependency, you can't depend on your parents forever. So I had to make a way.
What is it like to have a father? Because I don't even know what that means.
It's
Like,
awesome. It's awesome. It's necessary.
I think about so much stuff that I went through that if I just had that one person to be like, nah, don't do it like that, do it like this. It's like your whole life you crash and burn because you don't have that one that actually went through it. A father's so vital, bro. But when did you start getting into like the fascination with motorcycles, or am I fast forwarding? Were you into the like You said a lot of people were fascinated by the gangs, like how it was for me growing up. Did you mess around with that at all as a kid?
I wanted to be a Latin king so bad, bro, but I wasn't Mexican enough. Or whatever culture they take in. You know, we always talked about the locks. You gotta hold the lock and go do your line and stuff, and a lot of this stuff was just made up and bullcrap. Not a lot of people knew the real deal. Same thing with the motorcycle culture. You have a lot of ideas of what it would have been like, or you had this guy say, "Oh, this is what you do. You get jumped in and this, that, and the other." And I've been jumped in before, a bunch. But it was normally black sets that jumped me in. It was never the Mexican guys that, like, I wanted to be a part of, but it was a culture. Even though I'm a part of the culture, technically 50%, I never could really get involved in the culture.
So you're half and half?
Yeah, my mom's from Jalisco, Mexico. My dad's from Louisiana.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm legitimately
Half and half.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
Mexico
alright.
family, American family.
So you grew up with the cooking and all that, like the culture of the food, or did you like
Oh heck yeah, bro! I can cook. I can cook. My mama can cook now. You know, pozole, caldo, you know, stuff like that. The basic stuff. Mole. That's really chorizo every day type thing. When I was with my grandma, I was close to my grandma. Mexican bread. Texas, bro. We could eat. No matter what it is, it would be African, dog. It tastes good. Oh, bro, I got here anyway. Yeah, y'all got good water.
Oh yeah, the food out here, like I gotta say, like, well, New York is a melting pot. It's falling off though. As far as food, it's definitely falling off because all these, it's like Dunkin' Donuts, McDonald's, it's the same thing everywhere. But like the culture food, like Spanish food and stuff like that is still good, but it's not the same when I was younger. All these big companies are taking over. But it looks like Texas kept their culture, right? Or
Oh, there's so many people. You know, you get a large group of people, you're gonna get something good.
But is it like New York where it's getting McDonald's out and it's all the name brands, or is there a lot of like local, you still have that
Come to
Texas
H
feel?
Town, and I'll take care of you. There's a
Definitely,
lot of good
definitely.
food.
So tell me about like, when you start getting into the love of like motorcycles and
Whew.
stuff like that.
I started riding motorcycles when I was 19 years old. I had a friend, Michael Weaver. Shout out to my boy Mike. I love him. We weren't good for each other. We had a lot bad history together. You know, I got into the drug game. I got into a lot of games, and it was just stupidity.
Did you have to do time over that or
No,
no?
I've been blessed. I've taken chances, counties, multiple counties. But as far as any hard time, anything, I don't claim to be a hard dude. I was just willing.
Since you're in Texas, was there a lot of that like cartel influence on the area? Like you just seeing those type of people around and stuff like that? Or is that just like it's not really how it is?
You know, you always have that kid in school, or you always have that buddy that died because he was involved in some shady stuff with the cartel. Being half Mexican, we hear things, and you know, I can't say that I experienced anything, but I have met people, I have met individuals, but I won't speak on any of them. That's a whole different ball game. That's something I don't get involved in. My family doesn't get involved in. They do what they do, and that's their business.
So that going on, like you being right there at the border of Mexico, do you guys like just go to Mexico? Like somebody from New York will go to Jersey, like you
Never
just could
been,
ride around? Oh, you never been?
never been.
Oh, okay. I always thought that since it was so close, you guys like, probably like go over there to hang out too because it's like right there,
We're still 12 hours away.
Oh yeah, because Texas is so big.
Hmm.
Texas is the biggest state, right? In the United States?
California beats it out, but I
California?
think
Yeah.
it's that they're a tie, close to a tie. But just say Houston. It takes you an hour and a half, 2 hours to get across just Houston.
So when did you start getting familiar with clubs? Did you see clubs ever since you was a kid, like
I
out
actually
there?
started
Or?
hanging out with the Outlaws at 19. I was living in North Carolina. I asked him. I was a good buddy of mine. I won't mention his name. But I said, "Hey man, how do I get that?" And they brought me to the clubhouse, and it was stupid, bro. I was a kid, you know. I was riding bobbers, this little V-Star 650, and I got receipts for it all. It ain't just bullshit. But I remember being so fascinated. I was always been a personable guy, bubbly, just you ask anybody, man. But they told me no. They thought I was cool. They were like, we don't want this, and I could have went that way. But he said, you don't want nothing to do with this life.
So they was trying to look out for you.
Yeah, if I knew if I would have asked again, I'd have got smacked down. And a big uncle was looking at you like, shut up, and never transpired.
So you were living in North Carolina at that time?
Hmm.
And then you shortly
Charlotte
after
area.
Charlotte? Oh, okay. So how long did you stay there before you went to Texas? Were you there for a long time? Like did you grow
I
up out there?
traveled everywhere. There's not a state in the United States I haven't traveled to, bro.
So where did you live the
I lived
majority
there
of
for
the
about
time?
3.5 years.
But
That's
Texas
where I
is
met my
home though,
first
right?
wife.
Oh yeah?
Yes, sir.
So Texas is your home though, right?
Houston. That's where I grew up.
So what made you like? So you were in North Carolina. You seen them. So when you went back to Texas, were you like now you're older and you're riding, or how was it?
I took a big sack of cocaine. I have the picture. I'll send it to you. One day I got off of work. I was working for NASCAR. I got off of work. I told my buddy I missed my family, and I took that hard-tailed bobber like a dummy, and I took that trip back to Houston with some cocaine. But when I got halfway there, I thought I was ODing a little bit because I was overdoing it. And I thought, I was in this party mode. My body was wore down. And I remember God telling me, hey, do another bump and it's lights out for you. We're not going to have this discussion again. And I said, yes, sir. I took that, threw it in the toilet, and then took off again. Got to my parents' house, slept for like 2 or 3 days, and then sold my bike, and then started buying bikes. Sold my bike because my parent could pay rent, and sold my bike and gave him the money to pay rent.
Wow, that's noble right there.
Nah, man, but I should have done that. I had opportunities to do that, and it wasn't until they got to their worst part that I didn't think like I've always lived my life selfishly. Everything has been about me, bro.
I think that's a part of being young, though, right?
I'm 33. I can't make that excuse forever.
Hey, you young, bro.
So what are you?
Hey,
yeah,
man,
what
we
are
ain't
you?
talking about
Hey,
me
no,
here. This is
how
your
old are you
interview.
then?
How old do you think I am?
My age.
I just hit 45.
Yeah, you old,
Yeah.
bro. It's
Yeah,
over.
man. OG.
Demons roll.
I think that's the first time I said that. Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah, but that's why the gym is so important. It keeps you young, you know?
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Over there. That's why you got extra thick armrests so the mugs don't collapse.
You got guns too, though,
No,
bro.
bro, these little square pistols. These things you get at the Dollar General.
So tell me about how you like acclimated to the culture in Texas. That's a heavy the culture's everywhere, right? In Texas, or is that like
You can't ride without seeing a cut.
see, it was different for me. Growing up in New York, like I never saw clubs. I saw like when I got older, I saw the Rough Riders, and that was it. Like I didn't see clubs in the Bronx like that. But I'm sure out there you were seeing them at a young age, right?
No, it was more fascinating colors like red and blue. That was it. And some yellow or gold, whatever you want to call it. But baby blue, you know how that goes. But really it was bandanas. It wasn't I wanted a bandana so bad. I had got my first bandana. I was like, man, baby blue bandana. I was walking around like I remember the first gang me and my boys came up with was the striped bananas, bro. we were smashing the lunch line, son. Hey, bro, look, that's how stupid it starts. It's funny though because people think it's cute and they think this is it. But bro, I'm telling you, it's lasciviousness. Big word, big meaning.
That's a big word. I don't even know what that one means.
It means gradual leaking faucet, so to speak, that eventually becomes a bust. So it's allowing something in your life.
Teaching here on the Demons Roll platform.
Man, God's good. He's good.
Yeah, so like how you got acclimated to the culture out there with the bikes and everything, with it being so big. You were seeing the big homies out there since younger, right? Oh, you said nah, you didn't.
Mm-mm.
So when do you say it started getting prominent, like out there?
When I met the Outlaws at 19.
At 19? Oh, okay. But in Texas, I'm talking about when you're like
Oh,
younger, when you first start.
you'd see them pass. I mean, Bandits have been there for 1966. Some people say earlier, but I know the history that we were taught as prospects. I mean, that history was huge. So 1966 is what has been, taught to me.
How was it? One question that I always wanted to ask, since you're over there in the South, right? And it started in the 60s, all the stuff like there was a lot of racism going on in those times in the country, you know? So how did like the Chicanos intermingle with the whites? Like, was that a problem in the beginning, or were people in the same community? So, because like in the East Coast, it's a melting pot. We never had that like the blacks and the Puerto Ricans were all together, you know? Whites, whoever. It's just like whatever, you know, that's how New York is. But like when I go to Cali, everything is so segregated, like with race and stuff like that. So how was it like, you know, on a little history level, I'm saying,
Sure.
how was it in the beginning, you know, for them, you know, the Bandidos, like having the whites and the Mexicans, how did they intermingle? Was there issues at that time, like racially?
I can't speak on it.
Nah.
I can't speak on it because it's something I wasn't involved in.
I just want to I want to sit down with some OGs and talk about like not even inner club. I mean just like the racial, what was the dynamic at that time, you know, with the cuz that's like the cowboys, like the real cowboys out there, right?
I can speak on what it's going on now.
Oh, there's some of that goes on now?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
The only genre of person that's not allowed to be in the club is a black man. They could be a support club, which is completely hypocritical. and I don't agree with it. But you cannot have blacks in the Bandidos.
Is it because of like, because I sat down with like the Mongols, I sat down with Junior, I sat down with George Christie, Hell's Angels. They both said it's because of the prison politics.
Something that I can't speak on because I was never locked up.
Okay, so tell me about the beginning, like, getting into a club, like what was your first club and or when you first started meeting people that were actually in clubs and they were your boys and stuff like that.
Well, I was actually in a motorcycle ministry. Yeah, I laugh because how stupid was I to leave it? Hindsight's 2020, man. It's foolishness. I remember being in my closet and the opportunity came about to be a bandit. I just became a full patch circuit rider at the time.
Was Circuit Rider was
The motorcycle ministry.
the ministry.
I
Oh,
remember
okay.
going to my first event. It was Texas Josh Texas Josh right before he passed away. It was his benefit. And I remember meeting Texas Josh. It's the only time I ever met him. And he was very, very loved and deeply still loved in the club today. And I wish I would have knew him more, but he's very loved in the club. He was very kind to me. I spoke to him and he passed away shortly after that. But that was the first time in full cut that I went to an event. And when I looked around, it was not like what you thought. I was kind of angry with the situation because it was an internal fight. I was like, why am I with these guys, these Christians? I was turning on myself, bro. I was turning on my own people. Like in my heart, I wanted this tough. I mean, it's scary,
It's the testosterone in you. You're a man, so you want to. I think every man wants to be king of the jungle. So to some point, not saying that you want to overthrow people or whatever, but you want to be the man that when you walk in that room, people respect it. So if these are the big bros, and when they come through, they're getting all the homage and the respect. As a man, if you feel you built like that, you're gonna want to be involved with them. So I understand that.
Yeah, and the thing about it is this is what I warn people that are going into motorcycle ministries because I have a bone to pick with them. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, there's more attitude and throwing your weight around in these motorcycle ministries and peon clubs than there is in actual 1% clubs.
I actually did an interview with a brother. I don't want to put him on blast, but he actually told me about some of the backlash he was getting from other Christian clubs because I was like, that's weird. You would think they would be supportive.
I don't agree with it. The reason I don't agree with it is because we're taking God, Christ, who is supposed to be the head, and we're putting him below and putting ourselves on a pedestal. It's not about Christ anymore. It's about pride. It's about why in the world would you want to, if you're humble and Christ is your example, why would you want to make something about a cut or about you or about a patch? And I hear all the time, well, I can't relate to him if I'm not a part of him. I use that excuse. So I always said, man, but this is my dad would ask me, son, you made so many dumb decisions in your life. Why do this? Why be in the motorcycle? Man, he warned me. He knew me. He knew I was gonna
You're gonna want to level up,
bro. And he said, why do this, Brandon? I said, Dad, I just met these guys. I think I can talk to them. I think I can reach them for Christ, Dad. And he said, son, that's not true. And I said, Dad, you can't say that, man. This ain't read your Bible. He hung out with the sinners. Man, he was talking to them in passing. See, Jesus had a mission. He didn't hang out for periods of time and stay there.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke the truth and moved forward.
Yeah, but everyone's a sinner, so if you really think about it, you know what I mean? So everybody you hang out with, period.
And the thing about it is you and I shouldn't need a cut to represent Christ. It's in us. I don't got to have a cross hat. I speak, sometimes I use foul language. What do you think someone's going to think of me when I'm over here got a cut on my back being a bully to somebody that says riding for Jesus, but I'm saying, hey, man, did you not just, I've seen people get hemmed up. You know how you got to introduce yourself in the formalities of motorcycle culture. And that's one thing I told these guys. I'm not a fearful person. I told these guys, hey, man, who do you think you're talking to? Are you talking to a brother in Christ or a subordinate, an insubordinate, somebody who's underneath you? What are you doing? And that was a problem for me. It's like, no, this isn't about Jesus. This is about your ego. And you're using that cut as a way to do it. It's not good.
So how long were you in that club for?
I prospected for like 2 years or hung around for like 2 years. And then I got patched in at a meeting and met some really good people. The circuit riders are very, very, there are good people there. I don't know if I buy the motorcycle ministry thing anymore because, again, they need some reformation. They need some change. They need to really get back to, hey, what are we doing this for? Why are we doing this? I can't pick a side. I need to be on Jesus' side. I can't. This is the problem, bro. In Houston, if you're a motorcycle ministry, you're praying for one or the other. That's not me and you both know that's not how it goes. I can't love one and hate the other. And then Jesus is on my back. He died for both groups. And that was always a problem for me.
I went through the same thing. I wasn't in a Christian club. I was in a 99. There was support for a diamond. And I remember when the diamonds would come through, the unknown bikers in New York, they were the big bros in New York. And people, the respect that they got and all that, I always looked at them like, I put in work. You know what I mean? Like, I did my time. I didn't have my shootouts. Like, I want that type of respect, you know?
Mhm.
So I think it was like a natural progression, you know? So I understand, you know, why you thought that way. So, but you went to that high level. You went big four. So what was that like, you know, meeting them? You said you went to a benefit, right? It was like what was it, like a RIP event type deal?
No, it was just a benefit. It was
Oh, that was before he passed away, right?
Yeah, they invited the circuit riders to come, and you stand in the corner, you don't say anything. And I was like, no. So I wasn't walking around. They're like, where's Brandon at? It's always been like that. Everywhere I go, what is Brandon doing? Mission trips. Is he in that place? Hey, don't go here. It's dangerous. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, let's go. And I was like, if I'm doing this for Christ, I'm gonna at least act like it. So I just started walking around mingling with people. Everyone was like, this dude, is he crazy? Yeah, it was very much so. If being fearless in a certain type of way, because I've always been scared, but never been scared. It's one of those double-edged swords. But I got in the mix, and I reached out through Facebook to a president, and I said, man, would you like to go ride with me? I was a motorcycle ministry guy, full patch. And I said, well, I would like to ride with you. Everybody was telling us to stay away. So I said, no, man, I want to ride with you. And he said, all right, we'll ride together. I said, okay, let me know when. Never heard from him. 2 weeks later, hey, I want to ride with you. He's like, all right, kid, hold on. You know, like, let me get you in contact with somebody in your area. So then I got a phone call from who later became my boss. It was so surreal to me. Bro, I didn't know a bandit. You know, they have rules on how long you got to know bandits. I didn't know. My story was wild. And it was so fast and so violent and so just wrong. It was some of the best times and mostly the worst times. But it was some of the best times in my life if they were real.
And so tell me about that beginning process, like actually being a prospect and all that. Is it like rough, like you're on call all the time and stuff like that?
The first conversation I had was brutal. You know, to give him props, if trying to scare somebody out of something is, he did that. He tried to. And he said, you know, I remember specifically him saying, son, my soon to be boss at the time, and I just didn't know it. But he said, son, you're making a deal with the devil. Why do you want to do this? You got family. And I thought, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He was working on 10 years in the club. And I'm thinking later on, I realized how he managed, unfortunately, those 10 years. And that was heartbreaking. But he said, you're making a deal with the devil. Meet us here. So I went to a place called Bo Keeter's Bar. Little Bo Keeter's. Country little bar. They stripped me down. Kind of embarrassed me. It did embarrass me, bro. I had to take off my shirt in front of everybody. I had to get 90% naked in front of their sergeant. And he looked over to the sergeant and was like, hey, and don't violate him. Just check him, you know. So I went in the back. I remember one bandit saying, those crosses on your face. I love this brother. Like, he's a teddy bear. But he's those crosses on your face. He said, I'll flip them upside down. And I sat there and everything was trying to make me scared. When really I'm thinking of how to hurt them. You know, a man, you're thinking like, I'm going, okay, you know. And that was a feeling you had to fight. That was a part of the process. And I realize now why they did that. Because you're the other team. If that transpires, what are you going to do? If you're going to run from this, you're running from that. Because this is controlled. That's not control.
So you already had the tattoos on your face you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. I just didn't have this one.
So you had those tattoos on your face before you joined the club? You had that in the Christian club?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you was all blasted in a Christian club?
I've been blasted since I was a kid.
And how did they didn't feel a way about that? Like you being blasted?
No, I just related to more folks, I guess, in their mind.
Oh, okay.
No, so that was never an issue. There's a lot of annoying questions, but that was my fault. I put them on my face like a dork.
So you regret
Are you
them?
going to agree like that? All right, man. I got you. 45 years old.
Listen, I look at it as art, you know?
Yeah, same.
So do you regret them, like doing
I
it?
do. I regret my whole entire life choices and decisions. That's what people don't understand. I'm not happy with myself. I need to be a better dad. I need to be a better husband, a better child of God, a better son, a better uncle. I have messed this life up.
I feel like I did that, but I feel like it made me who I am, so I could speak a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't regret it, because it's like I wouldn't be able to speak with the authority I do or do the things that I do if I didn't go through all of that, you know?
I respect.
I believe that all the stuff that God lets you go through, it prepares you for your path. It's like gladiator school, you know? It's like training, you know? And if you survive through all of it, that means he has purpose for you. So you have to figure out what the purpose is, you know? And then it's your biggest blessing, believe it or not.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, for real. Because you got to look at it like this. If you haven't been through nothing, you have no story. So how you really going to do anything? You know what I mean? So all these bad things that we go through, it actually defines us and makes us have a story. You know what I mean? It makes us stand out from what I like to call zombies, because there's a lot of people that are just zombieing through life, you know? They don't, I think it's a good thing, actually, believe it or not. It's all perspective, you know what I mean? You know, like the beginning process of like prospecting.
Oh man.
Like, I enjoyed my prospecting because I was able to be like, yeah, see, you
didn't
were
do
from
it
a whole
right,
different
bro.
world.
You
Yeah,
didn't do
yeah.
it right.
Listen, school me. I want to know, bro. So let me
Bro,
know.
look, prospecting, you know, I did the stupid TV shows and all that stuff. Those were tough. Being on an island and all that ridiculous crap. It was hard. I lost a lot of weight, starved, whatever.
What do you mean doing TV shows?
I had done that Survivor junk.
Oh, you was on Survivor?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
You
Yeah,
know,
that's right.
okay,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
playing
yeah.
me too.
No, I forgot. No, I forgot. No,
No, but
honestly, we didn't have a conversation about it.
yeah,
So,
Booby
you was on
told you.
Survivor?
Booby told
Yeah,
you.
Booby told me, but bro, I
Oh, we didn't
forget.
have it. No, but it was dumb. It doesn't even need to get
Yeah.
clip it.
What's so bad about that?
Pass. Pass. No. I was a dork, bro. Like I was taking
you was
I
being
was
goofy
taking
on
it
there?
seriously.
Oh,
Instead
yeah?
of being like passive and like we're in a game, I did real life. They didn't realize I was a little PTSD filled kid. They put me on a big screen, and you know how it is. You can't take real and put it in the fake world. I took things seriously.
Oh, so you're not supposed to really survive? Like,
Yeah, you are, but emotionally, I got involved and invested. They weren't ready for that.
because you're trying to win, right?
No, I was just trying to make friends.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
not a thing where you win a whole bunch of money or whatever?
Yeah, it is, but I didn't care about money, bro. I just wanted to make friends.
Oh,
Yeah, and then I go watch it. I was serious. I gave up a bunch of money.
I've only seen a couple of
You're gonna
seconds
be
of a
embarrassed for
Survivor.
me, bro. I was trying to follow Christ at the time, and my life's been like this with the Lord, roller coaster. So highs, lows, never been consistent. And I lacked that, but I was consistently when I became a bandit, I was consistent.
Oh, okay. So you got far from God.
Yeah.
So, like, how was it, being in a Big Four club? Like, a lot of people see it, on the screen, and they're like the biggest, baddest club of all time. And, it's always negative, but I'm sure there's positive too.
The positive is that I'm no longer a member.
Wow.
See, what people don't understand, it's like being in a relationship. I'll put it to this. I liken it to being with a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
You say your vows, you get married, you clap cheeks. Oh, it's the best. 5 years later, you realize she's cheating on you. Was it the best thing?
So I take it your prospect period was not fun.
Horrible. Horrible. So I'll give you a little snippets. Basically, for 6 months, I did not. It's 180 days minimum. I did 179 days. I was a go-getter, and I protected my brothers. And still to this day, I've never been. People were shocked when I left, I'm sure, and some people weren't. But I was liked and loved, not by all, because I realized later on, if you're loved by everyone, you've had to lie to somebody. So keep that in mind. You can't be loved by everyone. So I wasn't loved by everyone. I was hated by a few. I think my excitement and my, you couldn't see what was next, what was coming from them. They called me Gundrop. They named me Gundrop because one day I was running one of our deceased brothers. Well, I won't mention his name out of respect. One of our brothers that passed away during my prospective period. He said, "Hey, come here." And I ran. And you don't run as a bandit or a prospect. We don't run. Bandidos don't run, the whole thing. But I wasn't running away from somebody. I was running to it. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm hustling. So I'm thinking I'm doing something good. Well, my gun came out and pow. And everybody looked around, was like, all right, nobody's dead, So they gave me Gundrop. So whenever I patched out, I renamed myself Loco because that's what I was called as a kid. And I was like, bro, don't call me Gundrop no more. Like, a lot of people still did. And eventually I just I don't care. Or Jackhammer. I was named Gundrop, then I was named Jackhammer, and then I thought Jackhammer was cool because I earned it from smacking down some of the other team. And as a hang-around, I earned that. It didn't stick. They were like, "No, you're Gundrop, bro." So, and everybody asked me, "Hey, man, Gumdrop? And the Nomads, they were like, "Hey, Gumdrop, hey, what are you going to do? Hey, what'd you call me?" Yeah, okay, do that. Do that. So look, this is the thing, bro. I love the people. I don't love the club. I don't want nothing to do with no clubs. I don't want nothing to do with an MC, I don't want nothing to do with none of that. You got a bicycle? All right, cool. But look, you ain't putting no number on me, dog. I don't want nothing to do with it, man. I love the people, and I've grown to love other people. And we'll speak about that later. But to finish or to continue on with the prospective period, there's a lot, bro. So forgive me for bouncing around. And plus, I can't concentrate very well.
It's hard too because you go through so much in your life. Like I'll do interviews and I won't even talk about I've been through so much in my life and I know you can relate that it's like you forget, bro. Or you don't you get into this rabbit hole and you completely skip another rabbit hole. Like it's when you had a full life like we've had, it's like it's hard to like pull everything into one interview and just bring it all out, you know? So I get it.
Badge of honor. You're gonna need to just do a solid hour of that crap. Just bleh. People just get it out. This stuff is not gonna work in sessions because you'll never get the story. I mean, it just won't happen. I've always been a more interest like Joe Rogan, how he has this set up to where just take an hour and a half and just get it all out, throw up, and if someone doesn't like it, get out of here. But
But that's what Rogan does the whole hour, or well, he'll do like 3 hours and then he'll chop it up.
oh,
You
I
know
see
what I
what you're
mean?
saying. And like
Yeah.
episodes, I see it on YouTube and crap. But no, so the prospective period, it was brutal. You're on call every second of every day. And that's where I lost all my brothers, is during my prospective period. I was a wartime prospect. That was my first shootout. That was my first all that was as a prospect.
Is this during the wake up time? During the wake up
Mm,
thing? No? All right.
I wasn't involved in that.
Oh, okay, okay.
It was after.
After. Oh,
Well,
okay.
it was when we were warring with Beast. And that was peak. That was peak. We lost 3 guys in a day.
And that was while you were a prospect that was going on? It's been going on that long?
Oh, yeah, even before that. We
Wow.
were smashing in Galveston as a hangaround.
So, damn,
Even
like
before that, they were coming to my house. You know? Yeah. Some of these guys are go-getters, man. It don't matter. You gotta respect. You've gotta respect. If you're in that world, you better respect. You better not take people for granted. You better watch who you're speaking to. Cause that hangaround will smash you down worse than that president some of these times. Cause that hangaround might be the future national. And I'm not glorifying this because there's nothing I want to glorify out of this situation. I want to push people so far from this culture that they don't want to even nothing to do with it. And the people that are in it right now, that are feeling it, and their minds clouded with all these wonderful things, right? All this idea until they're dead, or until they're in prison, or until they're rolling on their brothers, or until, bro, the same brothers that said they love you to each other and kissed and we're close. We're clapping cheeks with their old ladies when they were buried. I'm watching this, bro. I'm watching this. Don't tell me you love me. Bro, don't tell me you love me when I know your intentions for me are bad. And then coming to find out, but this is the problem with pride. It keeps you ignoring things just to feel that extra, that little something. You put things to the side. Oh, I could deal with this because same thing. If it's success, money, I'll do it because I'm making this extra money, or I'll let this go by, or I'll let this go by. Eventually, what does it profit a man to gain the entire world but yet forfeit his soul? And you're selling it for cheap, for nothing. When Christ paid for it with his life, you're selling it for nothing.
so tell me about getting fully patched. What was that like? Was that like the end like you feel like, all right, I'm finally over this like rough period?
I had brothers come up to me and say, now the hard work starts. I didn't believe it. The prospecting was the easiest part. It was like an onion. It's a layer and a layer and a layer. When you get to the center, you don't want nothing to do with it.
I felt like that too, like when it was prospect time, everything was fun. There was no real politics because I wasn't allowed to be involved with any of that, you know? And then once I was like fully, that's when I started seeing everything, you know?
You know how you last long in a 1% club? And I encourage all you full patch members to look around. Look at these people. They're either real quiet and they stayed out of politics, or something's wrong. How come you tell people there's 3.5 years? There's a 3.5 year limit. Not limit, forgive me. There's 3.5 years, 3 years life expectancy of a bandit. All my brothers died within 3.5 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And my entire bandit. And from hang around, my first run was a funeral. And then 30, bro, there's some things people can exaggerate about. but not one person is going to call me a liar for saying that I didn't go to double-digit funerals, and they did too.
Was it all war based, or it's like people going down, war?
Hitman, Tigger, Randy, Ray, Wasson, and so many to count. I just counted murders, just murders. And then in between that is heart attack, accident, 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 accident. I mean, you get numb. I didn't cry. I was a big crier back in the day from TV. Like my emotions, I wore them on my sleeve. I didn't cry until the first murder happened. And I was begging God to allow my brothers in heaven. I didn't know how to process it. I was like, please have him have asked you forgiveness. Please, I beg you, God. And that's just not how life works. When it's out, it's out. I was crying. I was on the phone with the National, bro, bawling my eyes out. I was a prospect. I had to go to the scene. They sent me to the scene. This is how I know this is some cowardice stuff. That guy that you've been talking about called me. I went to his shop. Hey, man, I need you to go. I was a prospect. I need you to go pick up the bike. My brother just got murked on and bring it to me. Why don't you do this? And I'm going to go pick it up and steal it from the feds.
And then you're jammed up.
And then I'm jammed up. But I'm thinking, no, I'm just being a brother. I'm crying. I'm in this motion. I got sent there by my boss. I was the first person to respond in my chapter, outside of another bandit. As soon as it happened, they called the prospect. Hey, my boss called me. Hey, go pick him. Go. There's something that happened with this person, this person, this person. You need to go. I'm like, what? What? I just spent time with them last night. What? Boom. See him up. I mean, I'm in my truck driving that way, and all of a sudden I see my brother this way, and this is reality. This isn't a game. You want to downplay it? Let that be on you. Receipt? He's gone. He had a baby right before he died. You gonna raise the baby? No, you're too worried about smacking cheeks on his old lady. That's what you're worried about. You're in this for you. You don't care what happens as long as you're okay until it happens to you. No respect for life. No love, loyalty, respect. That's the truth. What are we doing this for? What are we really doing this for? You don't own the property. You don't own the territory. You're not liked in most of the bars you frequent. You're bullies. You beat your own. You're creating snitches. That's like an abused wife, bruh. And then, or you're surprised when she leaves you? Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. I mean, it's just common sense, guys. And all these people that are buried, it could have never happened, but it's because of warmongers, man. People who want this persona, they want to keep it going. I want to be a wartime this. I want to go down in the history books. Bro, you're going to be going down in the history books of hell for that kind of attitude. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. And I'm ashamed to have been a part of it.
So is this all with the what was the name of the club? It's the MG Club, right? The Homietos, I think that's
The
how you
Beast,
call
it's an open case. I don't know all the huge details.
Yeah, you don't have to get into specifics or names or anything like
Yeah.
that, but just the
Look, I'll put it to you this way. Beast lost a lot. They lost a lot of people. They've lost a lot. For what? I don't know. You can use your imagination. They've lost a lot of folks. What do you expect? Some fold, but they didn't. 10 toes down. Exactly what me and you would have done. And that's what we did. I don't blame them. You kill my brother, it's on site. Because there's receipts.
So that stuff you feel will always go on forever. It's not gonna stop.
It has to stop. It has to stop. See, beasts want peace. I speak to a few people. They want peace. The same people that I hated saved my life shortly after I left the club.
Wow.
Saved my life.
How did they save your life?
Oh man, we jumped straight in there, and that's my fault. But
let's not fast forward yet. Let's talk about like still within the club. Unless you're done with that and we can
no, let's that's hard. That's probably gonna be your most interesting subject because bro, I'm gonna just put it to you straight up. And as best as I can. When I left the club, I learned more about the club than I ever knew. The people I hated ended up becoming my friends.
That happened to me when I went up north. I was Crip for a lot of years, and when I went up north, I feel like I was getting more love from certain bloods and stuff. It was weird. It's some like really unexplainable stuff. Not to cut you off, but I can relate to that.
I want people to open their eyes. My boss lives in a war zone. I would always be asked, how you always got 911s? Why are you always on a 911? Why are you in a shootout? Why are you this? Why are you that? You need to chill out. I'm like, how are you not? We're neighbors. I live 5 miles from you. You're in their town. You're the only bandit in their town. How are you not? How are you alive, bro? How do you do this? And then some wisdom, some garbage wisdom you want to throw at, some just feed you a little bit, not knowing that you've been a snake, not knowing you've been a snake. How are you alive? How come they're coming to see me, but not you? And I didn't ask those questions, but I found out later. And nobody wants to hear about that. Sweep it under the rug. How are we going to hate somebody? And I should have put it together. We'd go to one of their bars. They didn't show up. I was banging with them out of town more. And I'm like, this is their home. How do we not see them? My new friend from the other side explained that to me. They had my address for a long time. And guess who gave them that? Guess who gave them that?
Cool.
My boss. Both of my bosses was speaking to them on a regular. Bro. Didn't get, bro, we lost people. How are you burying people with that conscience? And bro, I'm talking about the biggest conspiracy theory on the planet.
Are you sure it wasn't deception by the other side to make you?
They had receipts. And it was wild. And the crazy part about it is, man, it made sense at the end of the day because I was like, that's why he's still alive. He was garnering for peace when it was rule. You don't speak to the other team. This is 1% Bible. This is their Bible. You don't play with the other team. You don't get caught you blacked eyed. I've seen people be disciplined. I've seen people be kicked out of the club. Bro, how are you going to hold people to that standard, but yet you're on the phone with them? Like I want to be an example for God. So I'm going to be nice. But how are you going to be on the phone with them telling them, hey, this is where we're going. Is this cool? When I'm out here at 2 or 3 in the morning being a prospect, bro, running around the streets with a bulletproof vest trying to make it home to my wife and my kids, shaking because I just got surrounded. I had my first shootout. And I'm like this. You could be a man and be scared, bro. I promise. Fear.
What do you think about that MG, like that format, not MC?
It's real. At least he's honest.
I was thinking that when I first saw it, like they're being straight up about it. Like this is how we move.
It's a gang. I've never done one as a bandit. I was never in a club. Clubs go and drink beer with their friends. Clubs associate with other people. Clubs, you don't get beat up in a club. This is a gang, bro. And the crazy part is the only people who fear bandits are bandits. The only people who fear beasts are probably beasts.
Well, a lot of people fear the bandits, like regular people, You were in that world, so maybe you look at it differently, but
I can't see the I don't understand. I know a lot of them intimately.
I think that's what happens. Like you start knowing people and then you know the real them and it doesn't impress you anymore,
No, actually, there's more bandits that are trying to leave. But they're tied to it in some way or another. There are people who look, man. I talked to an old school bandit, and he told me, "Look, bro, is your loyalty to God or to this club?" And that was the day. I decided to make that decision.
That's rough. That's a rough question.
And he was old school, long patch holder. He was like, "Hey, who's your loyalty to?" And I said, "To God." He said, "Well, then you answered your question."
That's a real OG statement because he put you in a position where you would be a liar if you said the club,
Oh yeah.
I mean some people, do, put the club before, but I wouldn't be able to answer that.
I got pulled over to, I'd be gone for days and days at a time. You go on a mission. It's called missions. You go on a mission as a prospect and you go for days at a time, man. You're gone. And I get there to one of the missions and it's miserable. And one of the brothers that he's passed away again. No kidding, right? He asked, "Hey, would you stay the weekend?" I said, "I'll do it if you want." Like, not wanting to be there for the weekend. And he goes, "What's more important to you, your family or the club?" I said, "My family." He's like, "Oh, dude." I'm like, and then another brother came home and was like, "Bro, come on. Like, what kind of question is that?" Like, so some people are sold. Some people are sold on it. That and then, actions speak louder than the words. I could say that the club was more important than to me at one point. I can't be a hypocrite and say, hey, that wasn't true, but really, was it? No, the club was much more important to me than my family at that time.
Like, we don't say it. If somebody asks us, we'd be like, nah, of course not. But our actions show, like, we're putting the club before family,
God's going to handle it the same way when we stand before him one day. What was more important, this life or the eternal one? That's gonna be a rough day.
I don't care how gangster you are, how many tattoos you got. I'm not gonna look you in your face and be like, yeah, I'll pick you over God. Like I can't do it, bro.
Want to know something cool? That casket don't care neither.
Yeah, that's a fact.
I mean, I've seen a lot of dead people.
I had a little video that I did that a lot of people found funny, and I was saying like all these people that are like atheists or whatever, super gangster, whatever, keep that same energy when you're on your deathbed. Don't be on your deathbed. Oh my God, I forgive me for my whole entire life. Like keep that same energy. You know what I'm saying?
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Please understand that. Because these tough guys that were gangsters and was stood on their business, and they can't go to prison forever, but they got bodies. They can't. They're dead. I'm sure they would want it that way. I'm sure that if they had the option, they would spend eternity in prison outside of where they're at. But at the end of the day, let's be real. You reap what you sow. You live by the sword. You will die by the sword.
Were you throughout this whole the whole time you were with the club? Were you married this whole time, or through? So you came in married,
Mm-hmm.
and you discussed this like with your wife. Was she? How was she feeling when you first got in?
You don't speak to old ladies about stuff like that. You can't. It would break them. It would break them, bro. But when she started, I'm crying on the ground, praying for what? Falling on deaf ears because my life is so whack. I'm crying. National called me. It's gonna be okay, brother. And that's not. That's bullcrap.
So tell me about your brother, because you were telling me before about a real unfortunate situation with your brother.
Well, he was. We call them little brothers. You know, support clubs are little brothers. I was sitting at the table with him, and this was brutal. I was sitting at the table with him, and he said, "I was a prospect, so prospects were looked up to. You know, where the prospects are known as the dom, regardless. If you're a bandito prospect, it don't matter if you're another 1% club. I'm your boss.
It's big bros.
There's no difference. It's unless a bandit walks up, and then there's a difference. And sometimes you get out of whack because, bro, you could tell when somebody's about the business and when they're not. And then sometimes you can't. You know, there's very few that you can't, but you know, most of the time you can find the guys that really aren't about anything by the way they treat people. You know, most of the guys that I know are serious. They would be so nice to you, so nice to civilians. They have nothing to overcompensate for, and you feel it. Yeah, so that's a little nugget. But we were sitting at the table, and I said, "Man, you need to, as his big brother, you need to wear a Kevlar." Sweet guy, nice guy. We're sitting at Bo Keeter's. He came to visit. A couple days later, he gets shot by a cop that went beast, and he's passed away. He had just had a baby.
So in an MG, you can be in anything. You can be a cop, whatever, because it's a gang. So it doesn't matter.
None of my business. They do what they do.
It's different from a club though, right? Because it's like, because you know, like if you're in a gang, you don't really have as much rules as a club would be.
Well, I
As
don't even know if
strict,
they
right?
consider it a gang.
Oh,
I
they
can't
don't
speak
consider it
on.
a gang.
I think it's motorcycle gospel or something.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was a motorcycle gang. I
I'm not
just
exactly
assumed
sure,
that.
but I can't speak on anything about that club other than what's already public. You know, they do their thing. I was never affiliated to them. We only had beef. I hated those guys. I was taught to hate those guys. We had problems. But how much is enough? What's enough? What's enough? We have whole countries trying to blow us up. Are we still going to be beefing when that happens?
I said that the other day on the episode. I said like Russia, like Putin will get tired of us funding Ukraine one day and nuke us, and I feel like clubs will just be fighting each other over the rubble.
No, and that's the thing. It's not going to happen. When your back gets pushed into the corner, same thing happened with 9/11. You know, gay, straight, Christian, Catholic. You don't see that stuff. You see self-preservation. And let me tell you something. If somebody were to come in here and try to harm you, they got problems with me.
I'm the same way.
They got problems with me.
I will die for somebody that is just with me.
And even if I don't like you, like it doesn't have to be that way. If a beast, I see them getting smacked down and they're about to pull the trigger. I don't care if you're a bandit. I don't care if you're a Mongol. I don't care if you're any of that. You got problems with me because nothing's worth that. To me, man, we have to get back. We have to get back to being human. We're animals right now. We're animals right now, bro. We're created in God's image to love each other. And we're out here picking a side. The people that laugh about it, bro, the people that are laughing and talking smack right now and going, man, you see Gumdrop on there being a little B. You see that? Look at them. They want war. Why? Ask yourself why. There's got to be a reason. It's to elevate themselves. It's not for you. If you think You're going to have Mongols, Hells Angels, pagans, whomever you want to add, bandits. There's no such thing as ruling the world anymore. It's not going to happen. You will not rule a single country. The days of the split states not happening are over. Bandits are not the dom of H-Town anymore because people got fed up. Beasts aren't going to be the dom. I'm not saying that. Mongols aren't going to be the dom. Share and ride your motorcycle. Do what you love to do. Stop shooting each other. Because while you're over here parading for war and hate, you're going to catch that ticket one day, big dog. And look, speaking on people who've lost their brothers and who's lost people close to them, how many more childless or fatherless children do you want? You need to really take a real big look in the mirror. And I was not thinking like this at one point.
You was all for it, right?
I was all for it, man. And it's a shame, man. But then when I found out what I was all for was faking itself, the fact that my bosses were talking to the other team and that all the hatred that you're spewing is fake.
But are you 100% sure that it wasn't seeds of discontent? You know what I mean? Because the enemy does that. Sometimes the enemy wants to, sow that discontent in you so that you're like, you have that inner turmoil and stuff like that. Like you can,
Okay.
for a fact like
My
that.
brother Sos, one president and one national quit with me. The national clip before me, he revealed that stuff to me. The president that quit was one of the presidents that was dealing with them on the side. So, how, from my own brother's mouths.
So do you think that the wars with the Hells Angels and the Bandits went on for many years and they squashed. So do you think that eventually, things will get squashed out there, or you just don't see it because it's just too much of a cycle?
The people are going to have to get dead or locked up.
It's such a shame because like you think about it, like certain gangs truce it up. They have and I feel like MC culture is more strict and more organized, that we should be able to do that before them, but it seems like we hold our grudges longer,
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. I talked to a bunch of brothers that are currently in the club and that aren't in the club anymore. They just want me to come on here and be honest. I'm doing something a lot of people can't do. They're fearful of doing. Don't expect me to fear you if I didn't fear them. You know this, and I'm speaking to a bunch of people. You know that I am not afraid of you. And you know that the response you're going to get coming this way.
So what is when was that, when he asked you that question about God of the Club, is that when you decided to walk away, or was it like that's when you started like, oh wow, this might not be for me?
There was so much that was revealed through this, bro. One of the last days I was leaving my boss because I was always the guy that got my boss home. Loco did it. Gun Drop did it. They knew I wasn't afraid, They knew I wasn't gonna let him die. So bring this person here. Bring this person there. When an out-of-town brother came in and make sure he has a good time, keep him safe. That was my job. I was never a high up. I was never ranking. I was never bro. Those patches don't mean nothing. Those little tabs for secretary, sergeant, and all that stuff, you looking at nothing.
I always said the best position in the club is like no title.
Yeah, you would think so. You would think so.
Because when you have title, it's politics.
But when you don't, you got to do all of it. You got to think about it. And I can't speak for your club. I can only speak for, and I can't speak for the entire Bandido Club. I can't even speak for multiple chapters. I can speak for my situation.
Yeah, because I think you're in Texas. Texas it's the real deal out there with the culture, So maybe, a chapter in another state, it's like a regular club. Yeah, they badass, but they're not on go all the time like you had to be because of the tension where you're at,
And that's the thing, man, is the hardest part about it is some of the brothers I miss, you never. I've been praying and crying and being a big baby because I love them.
You think that's why the violence is so high, because you love them so much? When something happens, it's like the aggression is.
And then sometimes whenever someone would die from murder that you didn't know, it wasn't even about their death. It was just, it fueled the reasoning.
Business. It was like business.
Yeah, it began, like I said, lasciviousness in the beginning. It began as hurt, and then it became numb. You couldn't cry. Now, if it was somebody like I had a brother that, and everybody knows this in the nation. Look, I'm known by everyone in the nation. Everybody. From lower to, I've never treated anyone with disrespect. This caught a lot of people by surprise. Every time someone leaves, they think there's a cop. Oh, they were a cop. They couldn't have just wanted a better life. And I got a lot of checks that are missing, if that's the case. Because I lost a lot of money doing this thing. It doesn't get back. You don't get paid for this. You know what I'm saying? It was surprising, and I left and didn't give anyone an explanation. You know what? You want to know why? It's because that's all I needed from that one brother was who's your loyalty with. And bro, this club any club becomes a god. It is all you live for.
I agree with that.
It's
Yeah, I agree with that.
1%. That's what they want. They want that 1% diamond so much that they'll do anything to get it. Anything. It's sickening. I was a hang around at the time, and I almost got 86 from being a bandit ever with one situation with a gentleman we were talking about. We worked together at a tattoo shop, and this is where it got weird for me because I was like, this is odd. I don't know if I could do this. I didn't like how you could beat on each other. Black Eye Club, this, that, and the other. I was like, dude, you're creating snitches. You're making snitches. You expect to smash this dude, kick him out, and then when the feds come to him, he's not going to say something? You're an idiot. Beat your wife, bloody her up. When the cops come, she ain't going to remember she's your wife, bro. As a matter of fact, you showed her she wasn't. Think about it. What loyalty do these people have when they leave? They're not bound to you anymore. You're a slave to whatever patch you're wearing.
Did you feel like that throughout, or like at the end is where you really felt it? Because I know
The
you
whole
had.
time, I was this way, bro. Every dead person that you got to bury, you want to quit.
I want you to do something for me that nobody's ever done on Demons Row. Tell me a wild story, like partying fun, because everybody, talks about the stuff that goes on. Because I know it's a lot of real shit that people go through, but there had to be like some really good times too. You got the status, you come through, you guys are the big bros. I know that attracts the women and all, but you were married, so
You know what's funny about that? My boss was a bass player. Those were my funnest times. We went had a concert. I sent you the concert. I one time this was the best memory ever. I was a prospect and best memory ever in that time period. Still not condoning the crap because you don't get these all the time. So we were on the stage and we were playing security. Prospect, your boss is the bass player, whatever. And I do love him. I think he's a weasel, but I do love him still. I think he needs to be honest about his conversations with the other team, and I think it's starting to come out because it's not just him. After everything came out, it was multiple, more than not. There were people talking on the other side, giving up names, safety. Normally, and some people didn't agree with the war at all. Some bandits don't want the war. Some beasts don't want the war. Some beasts want the war. People trying to make the name for themselves can't make a name in peace times. You really got to understand that. You can't make a name for yourself or earn a patch without confrontation.
is it all over just this is our area, or is it more about like pride and stuff like that?
It's pride. Because you can't actually own the area. And most of these people, why would I want that? I don't care about that land. You're going to ride on it inevitably, whether it's technically mine or not, or my little slice. You have to drive a car. Like you're still, it's like, dude, people aren't going to just uproot their lives and their families and just leave. This is not the 60s. They did that business in the 60s and you listened. One of the old school guys that I love very much, I won't mention his name, but he is old school, like back in the 60s. And he gave his heart to Jesus about 5 years ago. I was a prospect and I walked in there. They created a patch in his honor, and it was a very revered patch. And he started telling me about his testimony. He said, Brandon, I didn't think that God could ever love somebody like me. He's like in his 90s, 80s or 90s. 5 years ago, he gave his life to the Lord. Known for all this crazy stuff, bro. He said, I never thought God should love somebody like me. I said, what scripture should I learn? Because I would put it on a mission. What scripture should I learn that they're asking me? And the scripture was, to those who show no mercy, God will not show mercy. And if you know what I'm talking about, it adds up. And honestly, bro, it shocked me and impacted me so much that there were people in the club preaching to me to separate myself. It's wild, bro. And these are older guys that been through it, seen it, did it, and going, it's not what you think, son. What motive?
You think God was talking through them, trying to tell you,
Was
like, yo,
he?
this ain't.
How many dead guys do you got to show me to say, wake up, Brandon, wake up. Your son and your daughter and your wife are begging for you to be present. Like, dude.
So, now that like you're out the club, you're like working out stuff with wifey and stuff like that. Just
It's my
remember,
son's 5th birthday today.
oh, it's his 5th birthday. A happy birthday to him.
I'm blessed, bro, because Some of my brothers, they weren't, they don't get to have their kid. They're gone. They're dead. And and I went into my room. My chapter, both chapters knew how much I loved them. And they can say everything they want about me, but they know that I loved my family. And that was the hardest part about this journey. You lose everything. I mean, I'm good. I don't use tissues, bro. But that feels good to cry. Damn. But I walked in the room, woke my wife up, said, "Baby, I'm quitting." And she was, I said, okay. I'm like, no, I don't think she did. I said, "Get up. I'm quitting." In the morning? Now. Called the prospect over. I told the prospect, "Hey, do me a favor, man." He said, "What?" I said, "Do the opposite of everything I taught you." And I gave him everything. And sent him over because at that time, things were getting volatile. And I'm fairly tactical in the way that I move. So I wasn't going to meet anybody. And I went home to my son. And I said, "Hey, bud," that next morning, I said, "Hey, son, Daddy's got a surprise for you." And he said, "What, Daddy?" I said, "Daddy's no longer going to be with his brothers." And he said, "That's the best surprise you ever told me."
Wow.
My wife started crying. I started crying. He's 5 years old. 4 at the time. I sacrificed like everyone else, but I know now it was stupid. Some people are still out there thinking that this is something cool or something awesome. Now you need to be a daddy. You need to be a father while you still can. You need to be a husband. You need to be a son.
You said that like there's certain stuff with the case, so you can't like just pick up and go. But do you plan to sooner or later leave and just because sometimes I wonder why people stay in the hectic area if there's so much tension and they could just start their life over somewhere else. Is that
Stability.
stability?
Stability.
Yeah.
Daddy made bad choices, but I'm not gonna allow my bad choices to affect their peace. It's time to make better decisions. My life was for Brandon. Now it needs to be for Christ and my family.
So that's so heavy, man. And I'm happy that like you're getting the opportunity that some of your brothers and other people that I know, brothers that I've had haven't had the opportunity to do is actually raise their kid, and you're actually doing that. So I commend you for that. And I think that, your mission, you have purpose. That's why you survived through all of this. Always remember that. All this stuff that we go through, if you actually like make it to the end, there's a lot of stuff, there's work that you have to do. You know what I mean? And it's not just Brandon's work, it's like your work. You know what I mean? Like your purpose.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat crap. There's nothing that I can gain from this. I'm no longer in the scene. I don't want to be a part of your club. I don't want to be a part of your association. I've been asked. I don't want nothing to do with it. I'm selling my motorcycle. You know,
So you're done with riding it like spoiled if you.
it's a sacrifice that's necessary.
When I left my club, I had to like fall back in love with my bike again because I didn't want to ride no more. I just the politics had got to me, and then like I don't ride like I used to. I used to ride like every chance I got. It'd be 30 degrees and I'm riding and not even having a car at times. In the past, and it took a while to like love my bike again. And sometimes that's what you get in it for, the riding and the fun, and then it gets so far away from that.
It was definitely if it was definitely different because I had an addiction, bro. I ride all over the United States. The nationals would constantly be getting a notice that I was traveling to a different state, and you got to talk and get permission, right? And like, hey, we're coming through. Nah, bro, I was going through alone. If my old brothers want to be honest, they could tell you there was nothing they had against me. I was loyal to them. I loved them. I rode everywhere, all everywhere, bro. Everywhere I went, I tried to. I rode with that banner on my back that said Bandito. I tried to be a bandit. I was a bandit. I did the best that I could, but it was taking too much, and it was going to take my life, and my own people were going to take my life. Whether they want to believe it or not, there if someone has something against you or if you know too much and you want to leave, you're going to die. Either you're going to die or they're going to try. And, you could call it stupid, you can call it cowardice, call it cowardice. I call it smart.
So I was asked Diamond, people that earn that diamond, this question: what is a 1% to you?
I'm still a one percenter. What's his name? Movie?
Mooch.
Mooch. I think Poopy and Mooch at the same. My bad, Mooch. No, we don't. You know, it's funny because now that I watch it, I could say, man, I think I could get along with that person, or I think I could get along with this person. In the past, I would have tried to cause him harm, right? Like we would have fought, we'd have fist fought, and you know, something like that because we had to. You know, now that I don't have to, and I can love them like God wants me to love people. It's pretty cool seeing these interviews and like, man, I could. There's this one Mongol that got his, and we were not good. You know, they took my brother's life on his in his back. Hitman died by a Mongol. You know, I'm gonna look past that. You know how people say, "How do you do it?" You do it.
That must be hard too, because like even if you're not in the club anymore, these are people that you looked at as rivals and enemies and lost brothers. So
I still turn my head when I see a cut, whether it's a support club, anything, and it's more self-preservation. It's more self-preservation when I do it because I have to watch myself, and I'm always watching. Always. That's inbred into me. It's actually not a bad thing when you think about it. You're more aware.
when me and Moose talked about, what is a one percenter, I disagreed with him because I believe a one percenter is someone that earned a 1% diamond pass for a 1% club. And he believes that once you're not in the club, you're not a one percenter anymore. But my argument is you're in the club. Like he was a Mongol. He was a one percenter in the Mongols. But when you leave, you're no longer a Mongol. But I believe you're still a one percenter because you earned that patch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
What is a one percenter to you?
I understand a 1%er to me, and can I address that real quick?
Yeah.
I understand what he's saying because I agreed with both of you. 1%ers, this is always said, you know, to prospects and new guys, is if you're not a 1%er from the beginning, you're not going to earn this patch. That was the concept. It wasn't exactly that I'm going to go wear a 1% diamond right now because I'm a 1%er. I don't want that. I don't need that. I know who I am. You know, I don't need a patch to tell me I'm this. I'm a protector. I'm a father. If you want to test that, feel free. That's the 1%er to me, is doing what 1% looks like. 99% of people, as a matter of fact, a good 1%er is a good Christian. Let's put it that way. Somebody who, in this day and age, it's hard to find that's courageous for the right things, that'll stand up when somebody weaker than them is being persecuted. Something that's righteous. You hear bandits talk about be righteous. Nah, be righteous. What was the definition of righteous? It's nothing that they can give you. You know, and being righteous to me in all of its glory, I guess you could say, is a 1%er. Somebody who's a good man, going against the grain, doing something everybody else isn't doing. Nobody nowadays wants to pick up their cross. Nobody wants to sacrifice. Everything is fast food, fast this, fast that, hierarchy and this, and I'm going to get up there. Everything you see on YouTube, bro, is motivation. For what? For me. M-E. A 1%er thinks about you. 1%er thinks about everybody else around him, picks his cross up and follows Christ. That's a 1%er to me. And I haven't been a 1%er. I haven't been like that, and that's what I want to be. You know, I want to be that. But for the sake of the conversation, I agree with a little bit of both of you when it comes to the motorcycle culture. When it comes to actual reality, it's less than 1%. Less than 1% do the right thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's one question that I always get from people that are not in clubs. This is a broader question, and it's the passing the one percenters on the highway. Like people that are not in clubs go crazy over this. Like they're like, why can't I just fly past the club? What do you think about it now not being in the club? About the
Uh,
respect of not passing a club when you're on the highway.
it's just not healthy. The reason, okay, so I'm literally on YouTube right now. You know those street racers with
Yeah,
the GoPros? He's
yeah,
super famous. And he posted passing the Bandidos.
I saw that. Yeah.
That's me and my
Oh yeah.
brother.
Oh
Yeah, so I sent my brother the picture, and I got receipts to prove it, bro. You can
yeah,
see my bike and everything else,
yeah.
and you can tell it's me with the zebra stripes and all that. And I'm like, we're riding down 59, and I say, "Hey, bro, we're famous." And he's like, low key guy, so he's like, "Oh, that sucks." I'm like, "No, it's cool." So I sent it. My father-in-law sent it to me.
Yeah.
He's like, "Bro, you know," and he's like, "Dude, this is crazy." And I said, I was like, "Yeah, no, it's pretty nuts, man." So he's got me on there. But I said, read in the comments. I was just reading the comments, and I didn't get involved because I'm not like a troller guy, or
Yeah, yeah.
I try to be respectful to people. And I wasn't gonna kill the kid. You know, he was passing so fast. What was I gonna do? You know, it's a street bike. You get used to that. Here's the problem. I'm not aware of street bikes. They don't bother me, right? When a cruiser comes behind me, it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't want to hurt a civilian. This is where it gets stupid for civilians to do that. Is in my mind, I've watched people die on a bike, right? What's my reaction gonna be when you're coming up quick? Because normally when you get shot on a motorcycle or they're shooting at you, they pass you real fast, and it's gone. It's over, right? Or a car. My experience was a car. Wasn't with a bike anyway. But something coming up that fast is like this PTSD reaction, and it's stupidity. We shouldn't even have to have that reaction. It's not the guy passing's fault, but that's just if you want to be wise, don't give anybody that fast twitch situation, you know, or, you know, wave or do something like that, or just be a America and do what you want and take a chance. That's up to you. I'm not a man to tell another man what to do. I'm not going to tell you that. Even as a civilian, if you see the video, he records it. I didn't even look at the guy. I know you're there. You're going fast. You're a street bike, and I'm watching you. You move for something, then we have a problem. You know, so it's outside of that, I'm not going to pull you over and be like, what you think you're doing? That's gay. That's straight up homo. You're going to pull somebody over. This is why I told people that did that. This that guy, like that guy that we were talking about. That's him. That's the dude. Bro, that's Etsy patches, dog. Promise. Anyway, so that's the type of person that's going to bow up and do something stupid. And you'll see. It's going to come out. You'll see. It's gay, bro. Well, that's somebody that I'd never been cool with kicking somebody while they were down. I don't care if they're your enemy. When they're down, they're down. Unless they fighting and you're down there with them fighting, rolling around, that's cool. But you kick somebody that's down, you're a coward to me. But anyways, yeah, you got guys that are, they'll him up civilians, bro. And your brother is keeper, right? Might not wear the patch, but you're your brother's keeper. And if your brother's right, everyone else is wrong. That's bull crap. If I'm a brother and I'm a good brother, I'm going to tell you when you're wrong. And a lot of brothers did that for me. They told me when I was wrong. But I watched a lot of people that threw their weight around on civilians. I said this, and I said this to people. And they were like, bro, you need to chill out. We're not in the place to say this. And, you know, there's a saying that says, my fat Mexican is as big as yours. No, it's not. That president's fat Mexican is a lot bigger, bro. That sergeant fat Mexican, he's going to hit you and show you how big his one is. Even if you can smash this guy, he's throwing his weight around because he's the sergeant. And if you got something to say about that, you can deal with nationals. Or you can deal with this crew or this crew or this crew. Most of the time, the way I addressed it was, why are you doing that to your own? Why don't you do that to the other team? And then you see the real man.
That's always been a pet peeve of mine is like, even when I was gangbanging, I feel like they would do the foulest things to each other, but their rival will spank them. And it's like, I know it's different in your situation. They banging back and forth, but I've been in situations where people are straight up getting victimized by the other side and they're punching their own brother in the face the next day. It's like, you got to have some type of priorities, you know?
I stood up for a president that he's a weasel. There's a president out there. And I was a prospect. And there was a situation where a civilian that was going to smack that dude down. Bro, you do not become superhuman when you wear the patch. You're still a coward in the patch. You can't. That doesn't give you extra points in the streets. That doesn't give you extra points in the ring. That doesn't give you extra points in the grocery store. How does it do it in regular life? Just because you wear a fat Mexican or you wear a Mongol or you wear a pagan. And all the brothers will look around and go, yeah, he's being honest. Because they want to say it. You're just their brother. You can't say it because you're their brother. You're not a good brother. Say it. That doesn't make you bad. That doesn't make you cool. That makes you stupid. Because 2024 is different. People will blow your brains out of that way. They don't play. You can't put a weak man in that kind of situation or they're going to overcompensate and get themselves killed, smashed up. You can't fight better in that cut. You can't shoot better in that cut. You can't take bullets better in that cut. It's just a piece of cloth, bro. This is how stupid this is. And here, want to know something even dumber? 9 times out of 10, your brother came from another club. Does that not speak volumes?
Yeah.
Something forever something. Like, bro, no. That's why it got so old. And I was a dork that would put that on my Instagram. BFFB. Brandon forever friend or Brandon, that's what that meant, right? Because I ain't about it now. So look how dumb you look. Forever? Are you sure?
I've had people that are in this diamond club one day and they're like DMing me like on Instagram or something, and then I don't talk to them for 6 months, and then they hit me up and they're in another club's colors, fully patched. Like, yo, what up, bro? How you been? And it's like, bro, you in this club now? Like, I had that happen with dudes that they were in several clubs in different DM conversations. Like, wow, bro,
It's
like
even worse whenever it's a 1% club because they are in their minds, the epitome of the hierarchy of the highest of high, and there's nothing less than them. So you're admitting to being less than you once thought you were, and you're content with that.
do you think 1% culture is days a number? Like the
It's
format is
over.
gonna
There's not days or number. It's over. It's over. You can hate me for it. I don't care. All you guys are rats, either cops or people who are making deals with other teams dude, are you kidding me? That blew my mind the most. All the names that came out, I was like, oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Because as a prospect, you see and hear everything.
I'll never forget. I don't know if you ever seen it, but there was a dude named Fingers, and he was like a cop that infiltrated like a couple of clubs. I forgot. I think it was like the Outlaws or something. But he was saying that I never forget this. He said, in every big club that ever had any kind of major case, we have people in all the clubs.
No,
I'll never
100%.
forget that.
It's about to be a rude awakening, and it ain't going to be your boy.
My one thing that I always feel funny about is like y'all are focused on that, but like children are being trafficked. The government is doing some horrible things in this world, and you're focused on like some clubs or whatever. Like they get RICO'd, but like these dudes that's doing real harm are not getting RICO'd, you
Bro,
know?
a lot of brothers are going to, even in the club, are going to thank me for this one. But how come I pay a due every month? I take from my kid's table, take from my wife's table. I pay a due, and you run out of alcohol at the run. Bro, just that in itself will tell you if you're just oblivious or you just ignore what's right in front of your face. That's what it is. You ignore what's right in front of your face. I love you, brother. Okay, I love you too, brother. Mwah. Bro, you a liar. You don't love me. Every 5 seconds you want to punch me. You're stealing from me. You want my woman. You're giving up my address to the other team. You don't want me. You're using me. You're not my brother. So what do we do now? We leave. And so many bandits have left. So many, bro. There was like 6
It's
or
all
7 of us.
clubs now, though, bro. It's all clubs.
And that's the thing. I can't speak on any of them, but I'm telling you, my experience, bro, is simple. It's why do that to yourself. Unless you have this way egotistical way of thinking, which that's 90% of the guys that go in this kind of stuff. And this is what's crazy, so is my heart goes out. Bro, most of these people want to be loved. They want to be loved. Why do you take so much suffering? It's because you want to be loved. Goes back to my dad. Dad, why are you hurting me like this? I love you, son. I love you, son. I do this because I love you. And in my mind, I kept it going, bro. So when you discipline me, you mean you love me? Oh, it's so false, bro. It's so false. No, love is patient. Love is kind. Love doesn't envy. It doesn't boast. It's not self-seeking. Bro, we get back to Christ and we get back to reading our scripture and we'll see how false all these things are. We see how we are actually on a path that leads to destruction. The Bible says the way that seemed right to a man, but in the end leads into destruction. The wisdom of man is foolishness to God.
Do you think anywhere in this culture brotherhood exists? Like, do you think that like I always say like maybe it's that small club that got like 10 to 12 brothers and been around 40 years, but they're not a diamond or any of that. They're just a little small group. Do you think brotherhood something that we're chasing? Is it a fantasy or do you cuz the brother from TG low key told me brotherhood is like you could get it in your chapter. Like you can't have it in a whole nation, but in a chapter you could find some brotherhood. What do you think about brotherhood?
I think there are good brothers out there, but I believe that when you add structure, a name, and a hierarchy, you lose brotherhood. Brotherhood is an equal playing field. If you have nothing, I give you what I have. We're equal. There is no I tell you what to do. Brotherhood is of one mind, man. I get structure, and structure is awesome, but you're my brother. I have nothing to hold over you. You need something, I'll be there. Why do I have to be captain brother or sergeant brother? Or, you know what I'm saying? President brother. I'm your brother. You don't have to wear a cut. I'm your brother. I lost most contact with all my brothers. It was hard. That was like, oh, it made you mad, bro. When someone's out bad or out, because I wouldn't even put out bad. I was just put out. After this, I'll be out bad. But bro, low key, if people are trying to kill you, who cares? Out bad or not out bad? That don't matter to me. Your little text don't matter to me at all. You could put me out bad, and it still is not gonna matter to me. The truth is the truth. Simple. And people who want to ignore it, they're the problem. Take their patch. Because they're gonna keep you in this war. They're gonna keep you in turmoil. They're gonna keep you. The people that are hating the words that are coming out of my mouth the most are the ones that are the problem. The ones plotting and scheming, let's shut them up. We're seeing that all over the world today. We're seeing it all over the world. And you know what? The cops love it. The FBI loves it. The government loves it. Let's keep them all distracted. Let's keep them killing each other so we ain't got to do it. It's entertainment, and it's stupid.
Do you think we get any change in the future? Like, you think the younger generation is going to start saying, like, these old fools been doing the same thing forever? Or do you think, like, it'll just always be like this? Like, it'll always be wars, always drama?
I believe that something bad is going to happen in the United States. I believe that we're going to be humbled, and I believe that it's going to force everyone to reevaluate. They're no longer going to be thinking about things that don't matter. They're going to worry about things that are immediate and of most need of attention. Perspective is going to hit. We have too much time on our hands. We got time to be one percenters. We got time to be motorcycle guys. We got time to do this. We got time to do that. You don't got that time. You're borrowing time. You're standing next to eternity, not in front or behind it. You're going to step over one day and go, what is this? Bro, I'm telling you, bro. So even you, Demons Row won't come with you. Me, my family, the ones that I love, they're not coming with me. We'll stand before God and take account by ourselves. That should be frightening to all of us. And we're closer than than we've ever been in history. How sketchy this world is and how shaky and how vulnerable it is, bro. We don't have time to do the patches and this and that and that. It's not time for that. It needs to be a step back, a reality check, realizing, hey, we're not doing this for the betterment of our country, for the betterment of our family. Being a one percenter doesn't do anything to better anybody but ourselves, not even the club we say to represent. You can't be selfish and love me at the same time. It's not possible. God is light. There's no darkness in him at all. And if you say you love God but yet walk in darkness, you're a liar, and the truth is not in you. That's the point of the motorcycle ministry that I don't want to be a part of. That's the point of the club I don't want to be a part of. That's the point of the system I don't want to be a part of. I want to be a 1%er the right way.
I have like a little different. This is different stuff that I would normally talk about on Demons Row, but I have a little different scope on God. I feel like good and evil are underneath God. Like, good and evil is me and your level.
Mhm.
God could destroy America right now, and that's not an evil act because he's
Yeah.
God. So good and evil exists under his bubble. You know what I mean? He's not wrong if he makes a move because he's God. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense to you?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how I look at it. Like, I look at everything that goes on is underneath his understanding and level. You know what I mean?
I do, and I think that's wonderful. I will say this: being in submission to the King of the Universe is much better than trying to be on his level.
Yeah.
Nowadays, people are always trying to search to how to gain the knowledge. Look where we lost. You know how we lost in humanity? We tried to be like him. We need to submit ourselves.
He does want us to. We are made in his image, though.
Correct.
So he does want us. I feel like he wants us to rise and do great things.
I agree.
I understand what you're saying, though. Not like we're better than him, though, ever. You know, like we're, that's the boss. We're the workers, but he wants us to be the best.
He wants
we can
us to
you
be
know?
like his son, and his
Yeah.
son came in the form of a servant, and
Yeah.
and died and sacrificed his life. We don't realize it. We see Jesus in his return. We see Jesus in all his army and stuff like that, but we don't realize he gave us his example. He lived the lowliest life. He was regarded not by no one, crucified for me and you. He loved not his own life unto death. That's brotherhood. That's what makes him so awesome. While all my brothers gave up on me, he'll be there. He was there when I was breathing, and he'll be there when I stop.
Well, that's a great way to close it out right there. Yeah, man, I appreciate you like coming on and telling your story because this is deep. This is a lot. A lot comes with it.
Yeah, it's bringing out some stuff, bro.
Yeah, I know, but I appreciate you, my
Yeah.
brother.
Thank you, man. And I thank you for the opportunity, man.